In the early annals of Christian history, the figure of Quadratus of Athens occupies a position that transcends simple categorical definitions, serving as the historical pivot, where the faith began its formal intellectual response to the world. Standing at the threshold between the Apostolic Fathers and the Apologists, he is most accurately defined as the first Greek apologist, if one must choose a primary designation. In approximately 124 or 125 AD, during Emperor Hadrian's visit to Athens, Quadratus presented a defense of the faith that marked a watershed moment. This act signaled Christianity's emergence from the confines of an obscure sect into the public discourse of the Roman Empire, distinguishing his work from the inward-looking pastoral focus of earlier Apostolic Fathers, and initiating a period of logical, outward-facing engagement. His stature was not merely that of a detached intellectual, but was deeply rooted in his practical leadership as the bishop of the church in Athens. According to the historian Eusebius, Quadratus succeeded the martyred Publius, and was instrumental in reuniting a congregation that had grown cold and scattered under the pressure of persecution. Described as a hearer of the apostles, he possessed an inherent spiritual authority, having been intimately connected to the generation that directly received the teachings of Christ's followers. This background ensured that he was not simply a rhetorician, but a guardian of the last apostolic generation. This is most vividly seen in the single surviving fragment of his Apology, where he boldly asserts the historical reality of Christ's miracles, noting that those who were healed or raised from the dead remained alive long after Christ's departure, some even surviving into Quadratus's own time. Quadratus was forced to confront a Roman society that viewed Christianity through a lens of deep suspicion and hostility. The Romans frequently branded Christians as atheists for their refusal to worship the traditional state gods and the imperial cult. Furthermore, the private nature of Christian sacraments led to grotesque distortions, with the faithful being accused of Thyestian feasts, cannibalism and Oedipian unions, incest. Their withdrawal from the violent and pagan public spectacles was often interpreted as social maladjustment or even an anti-state conspiracy. Quadratus met these challenges head-on, attempting to prove to the emperor that Christianity was not a threat to the state, but a community grounded in the truth of a historically verifiable savior, whose works brought genuine restoration to human life. In conclusion, Quadratus was both the shepherd, who preserved the Athenian church, and the pioneer, who translated the faith into the intellectual language of the Roman Empire. He stood at the summit of a transition period, where the church shifted from a persecuted minority to a subject capable of engaging with the highest levels of imperial authority. While it is academically sound to classify him as the progenitor of Christian apologetics, that mission was firmly anchored in his responsibility as a bishop and his profound apostolic heritage. His legacy remains a classic example of how the early church maintained the purity of the gospel, while fearlessly expanding its reach through dialogue with the leading minds of the age.